This summer, Airbnb, they're trying to change their model, their back end, so it mirrors what a traditional OTA, Booking.com, Expedia would look like. When you do that, they are going to annoy a lot of people.
I've been meeting with a manager and, she said to me, I am too reliant on them. That's all I have. But then I looked into like her PMS, and her PMS only has connectivity to a few channels. So she doesn't have a lot of opportunity to kind of diversify.
If you are so reliant on this one platform for your whole revenue coming in, it's your own fault. My issue isn't so much with Airbnb. It's not so much with Expedia, with Booking.com. My issue is with the host, who is so reliant, who refuses to do anything about it.
A lot of people ask, how do I do direct bookings if I don't have a big marketing budget? Make sure that your information is all over that property, that they know the brand, that there's QR codes, that it's super easy for them to stay in touch with you. Create an experience that people are going to actually remember and that makes them want to seek out coming back to you.
This year seems to be the year where everybody wants to talk about direct bookings, and it's been fascinating to see people that maybe a year ago, they didn't know what a direct booking meant, but now they're talking about it like they're the experts in it, which is really fascinating.
We'll start the show in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
Hi, my name is Julie Bird. I'm the president of Cabo Villas, and we're part of the Nocturn Luxury Villas collection. I've been with Cabo Villas for more than 23 years. When I first learned our company was going to be sold and that Nocturn was coming in, my immediate concern was for my team. Naturally, questions came up. Would they keep their jobs? Would their pay or roles change? Would their benefits be protected? As a leader, ensuring stability and security for my team was my top priority. What quickly reassured me was seeing Nocturn's commitment, not just in retaining our employees, but to actually enhancing their experience. They invested in our people, improving compensation models, strengthening benefits, and creating new opportunities for growth. Nocturn brought resources, expertise, and a culture that aligned with our values, which made me excited about what the future could hold for both our team and our homeowners. We were also concerned about whether our identity as a local expert would be honored and maintained. It quickly became clear that Nocturn respects the local expertise of our teams while providing new ways to make all aspects of our business even stronger. The results have been significant across every area: bookings, visibility, and homeowner engagement. While our digital marketing was already strong, Nocturn has elevated to a entirely new level. We're seeing steady growth in bookings, and just as importantly, we're attracting new homeowners to our portfolio. Even in a down market, we're consistently outperforming our 2024 numbers, a clear sign that the strategies and resources we now have in place are working. I would tell any company leader considering joining us that Nocturn is a partner you can trust to honor your brand while helping you take it further than you could on your own. What truly sets Nocturn apart is both the culture and the leadership. Their approach is people-centric. They genuinely care about you, your team, and the values that make your brand unique. If you want to protect what you've built while joining a team of the industry's best, with the resources and collaboration to unlock new opportunities, Nocturn is the right partner.
If you're considering your next chapter, go to nocturnluxuryvillas.com to see how they can help you protect your legacy while unlocking new opportunities. Welcome to Alex Nanny, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we are joined today with Mark Simpson, who is the CEO of Boostly. Mark, it's so good to see you back again for the third time.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
I can't believe you actually came back for a third time. That must say something.
That must be something wrong.
I must be a glutton for punishment. So.
Oh, no. And it's late there. So, what, 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, 10 past 9, just got the kids to bed. So it's the perfect time just to have a little chat and catch up.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, for our listeners that don't know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. So I created this little company called Boostly nearly 10 years ago now, after being born into the world of hospitality. I grew up in a 200-acre farm stay bed and breakfast, worked full time in it from 2011 to about 2016, 17. We eventually sold that business. And yeah, for like the last 10 years with Boostly, I've just been helping hosts when it comes to, direct bookings, whether you've got one property or, we've got some clients now, we've got a couple of hundred properties. We just give you, I say like my elevator pitch is the tools, the tactics, the training, and the confidence to increase your direct bookings without relying on these online travel agents. And yeah, that's what we've been doing. And it's just sort of grown crazy over the last 5 years. It's really sort of like ramped up, and I get to now travel the world, speak at events and all this cool stuff. So That's little old me.
The interesting thing is too, I bet when you went into this business that you knew what the situation was at the time, that like there was a need for this and there were issues, but you probably had no idea how your business model would continuously be fed by the engine that is Airbnb and
Yeah.
just problems and issues that people are having and how they're looking for other options. But it's been a wild ride. I mean, the last time we had you on was 3 years ago. I mean, it feels like an eternity compared to all the things that have happened in the world of OTAs since then.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, like the way that I started the business was just for my little hometown in Scarborough, because there was no help from the local tourism board when it comes to like marketing and sales,
Yeah.
etc. And it's a funny thing. As soon as you start putting stuff on the internet, like people all over the world can see it and want to be part of it. And I just started a little Facebook group, and I saw people requesting to join, and they were just from all over the world. And when we got to 1,000 members in that group, I was like, there's got to be something here. There's got to be like a business here. And again, it's just evolved over time. And I've sort of been on this sort of one man mission to piss off the OTAs as much as possible in any given chance that I get. And yeah, it's been a fun ride.
Well, that's where I actually wanted to get started was, pissing off the OTAs. So, I'm sure you've been called a lot of names in some private rooms, but you like to poke at Airbnb specifically, and there has been a lot of changes I would say the last 3 months specifically with Airbnb, specifically in the US, but I think globally. And so I think people lean on those that have always been poking at them to say like, "What am I supposed to do now?" And so I know that's the conversations that I've been having with people is their head is about to explode. It just feels like every time they open an email from them, there's a new policy or a new change in it. And once again, just feels like another layer or another statement of we're not friendly to the property managers. We're only friendly to the guest. So wanted to get your take on it and kind of all the things that have happened, address them and maybe get your thoughts on where we're at with that channel.
Yeah, it's mad. I was trying to take the summer off, and it was like,
They had other ideas.
yeah, every single week there was just something. And yeah, obviously I like to react, and I do feel like I try and keep it fair. I poke the bear with booking.com as much as Verbo as well as Airbnb. But yeah, this summer Airbnb have seemed to be pivoting to more of a traditional OTA model, I feel. Obviously, Brian Chesky's mentioned it time and time again that good as their business is, for every one night booked on Airbnb, he said something like 9 bookings are made on hotels. So obviously, hotels is the play. Where do hotels most majority live? It's booking.com and Expedia. So that's obviously where their whole sort of focus is going. And the changes that have been made, if you look at it from like a 60,000 foot view, it's obvious they're trying to change their model, their back end, so it mirrors what a traditional OTA, booking.com, Expedia would look like. But when you do that and you change the rate that they are doing, they are going to annoy a lot of people. And the people that they are upsetting the most are their sort of avatar, their hobbyist hosts, as we call them, or the smaller operators who have maybe been, we talk about fees like 3%. They've been paying 3%, happily paying 3%. All of a sudden, they've been told it's going up to 15.5%. Which if things like that, and then cancellation policies and things like services coming in, which is like, you give up all of the juice without the squeeze. You know what I mean? It's like you get nothing back and you take all the risk on board. And I've heard so many people talk about it, so many people give their opinions. But what's really interesting to me is some of the Airbnb gurus, the Airbnb like number one fans, they're actually now going, well, hang on a second. What is this? And that's been fascinating to me. And like I say, Boostly on the back end is just I was saying off thing, our call calendar has never been this full. It's insane how busy our call calendar's been.
Yeah, it's like you've been pushed and bullied so long that finally, eventually, like you might take it for a little bit, but then that last one is just kind of throws you, really, really over the deep end. And I was just on a call with a pretty large operator in South Florida today, and they were asking about if I thought that Airbnb was going to make it mandatory for hosts to do a 24-hour cancellation policy, and if that would be different for large companies versus small companies. And I said, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have somebody coming on the podcast later today that might know a little bit more or have maybe some insights. But have you heard anything on that side?
No, I mean, Airbnb will always try and, as you've said on a number of podcasts, I was listening to the one with Dennis Shaw earlier
Mhm.
earlier today, and he's he's probably more connected than all of us out in the
Yeah.
industry. And I feel 100%. That podcast was amazing, and it's basically confines everything that we've been thinking about. Is that Airbnb is their priority is the guest and their
Mhm.
shareholders, and it's unfortunately the host that have to sort of put up with it. But it all boils down to is that, if you are so reliant on this one platform for your whole revenue coming in, then
Mhm.
it's your own fault. And I've said this a lot.
Right.
I
Yeah.
said, like, my issue isn't so much with Airbnb, it's not so much with Expedia, with Booking.com. My issue is with the
Yeah.
host who is so reliant, who refuses to do anything about it. And luckily now there's so many resources. There's fantastic podcasts and YouTube channels and books and everywhere where there is so much education that you can get for free, that it really is like not an excuse not to learn how to do these things. So when these policy changes do change, you can just go, oh, that's cool. But you've got this whole direct booking funnel and whatnot. But bringing it back to the
Mhm.
24-hour thing, I've not heard, I'm not privy to it. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, with all of the changes that are going on behind the scenes. But like I say, nothing is surprising me at the moment with the things that are coming out from Airbnb HQ at the moment.
Kind of touching on, some of these hosts, and you and I go back and forth on Instagram a lot about some of these the influencers that are the get rich quick guys, as Alex and I always call them. That they've started to take notice, and I think it's like I also fault them to some degree of like giving people this false sense of what reality actually is. I've been meeting with a manager, and she said to me very, very pointedly right off the bat, like, I am too reliant on them. That's all I have. But then I looked into like her PMS, and her PMS only has connectivity to a few channels. So she doesn't have a lot of opportunity to kind of diversify. They don't offer a channel manager, so she's very limited in what she can do. So some of some of it is a technology problem, but some of it is the messaging that gets in front of these people, and that's all they're seeing is that like it's an Airbnb empire. It's you're building it only on Airbnb, so they think it's okay, like almost like this business is going to be their friend forever. And now they're all seeing that maybe that's not exactly the case. So I'm wondering, like, in your mind, what do you think some of these influencers who have staked their reputation and their business on this Airbnb empire theme, what do you think they're going to do with this?
For every influencer that is out there on Instagram for the last sort of 5 years, they've had me in the comment section and in the messages trying to sort of educate them. And to be fair, a lot have listened, and I've ended up working with a lot of them. But it has been very, very funny and interesting. This like there's different things that become very popular topics, and whether it is the shiny NFT coins or cryptocurrency or whatever that is the flavor of the topic of the month, or if it's this sub two thing that goes around the states, of is all these different strategies and whatnot. This year seems to be the year where everybody wants to talk about direct bookings, and it's been fascinating to see people that maybe a year ago they didn't know what a direct booking meant, but now they're talking about it like they're the experts in it, which is really fascinating. I totally understand where there'll be people talking about, and just because they're good at Instagram or YouTube, that they will get the attention. But I feel like what is really, really important for any host that is watching this or listening to this is there are some fantastic resources out there. And I would never try and stand here and talk about the sub two movement or talk about arbitrage or talk about whatever, because that is not my skill set. I can talk about marketing because I've been doing it for, well, since 2011. And when it comes to direct bookings, that is all that I really love to talk about. When it comes to these other influencers and what they're sort of been talking about, and they've literally put their nail to the mast on Airbnb, and Airbnb being in the only channel, it is fascinating to me now to seeing how quickly they start talking about these things called direct bookings.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that has been built with awareness of why people are now finally understanding this is something they need to be cognizant of and building a plan. But I get this question all the time from smaller hosts that they know my background is mostly working with larger property management companies that have hundreds of units, and we can very not more easily, but I mean, there's a huge expense to it, but a company has a lot more resources than an individual host does to drive marketing dollars and demand to a property. But a lot of people ask, how do I do direct bookings if I don't have a big marketing budget? And my response is, and I'm very curious to hear what you also recommend, Mark, but it's get as much of the lowest hanging fruit as you can. So if you're, whether you are or you're not, but if you're in a market where you get a lot of direct like repeat business for sure. Make sure that your information is all over that property, that they know the brand, that there's QR codes, that it's super easy for them to stay in touch with you. And, create an experience that people are going to actually remember and that makes them want to seek out coming back to you. But, the not being able to get guest emails now, if you're just relying on Airbnb, also creates a lot of friction there. So it's like, it's now kind of the onus is on you to make sure that the guests go out of their way to follow you if you want to stay in touch with them. But curious your thoughts on how smaller hosts really can move the
Yeah.
needle.
Yeah, so it's a great question. And in 2021, I remember Clubhouse being really popular, like the audio app that everybody was on,
Mhm.
especially if you had an iPhone. And I
Yeah.
used to
Mhm.
sit in those rooms and I would join in, and these questions were coming up so much. Even back then, like, I want to do, direct bookings, where do I start, yada, 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 which is why I put that book together, the Book Direct Playbook, the one that I spoke
Mhm.
about 3 years ago when I came on the podcast,
Yeah.
which changed everything, like, for me. And there's 101 tips in there. And the cool thing is about that is that majority of the tips in here don't cost a penny. But what it really boils down to is data. Like, you've got to get the data of your guest as soon as possible, whether that is through Google Forms or StayFi or QR codes, like you mentioned. As soon as you can start getting that data, um, it changes a lot. And we've got people within the Boostly world, our Boostly community, our Boostly customers, and whenever they join Boostly, they get a CRM. So the CRM that we use is basically built on Go High Level, and you can import your contacts from your PMS, from StayFi, from wherever you get them into there. And we've got the agency level, so I can see everything from like the agency level view. And it is fascinating to me, the customers of ours who do amazing work with direct bookings, as in going from zero direct bookings to maybe 50% direct bookings within a year or 18 months, is the ones that are building the database, but then do something with it. As in sending campaigns, sending SMSs, sending emails, whether it's individual or broadcast. They're the ones that are truly doing work with it and making that data go to work. The people that struggle, the people who don't improve their direct bookings, even when they've got like a real snazzy direct booking website that's integrated into their PMS of choice, are the ones that don't collect the data.
Mhm.
But maybe there was one client who had 7,000 emails, but they never sent an email. And I was like,
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
no.
They've
I was
got
like,
them though, but yeah, can't take emails to the bank.
yeah, absolutely. And I said, so we crafted this email that was built together with an AI bot that we had, and they sent it out to this 7,000 people. And it was a very friendly email. It was like the question was, do you know anyone? So basically, all of these guests that we sent it to had stayed with them in the past 6 months. And it was all emails that they had gathered through a collection of Google Forms, StayFi, etc. And this email was so easily put together. It took 2 minutes to put together. And it was just asking the question to the guest, hey, we loved having you as a guest. Thank you very much for staying with us. Do you know anybody that is coming to this area? It was such a simple question to ask, and it wasn't a massive tourist destination. This was like a city in the United Kingdom. It was Chester, so it wasn't like, when you think of the UK, you don't think of Chester, but it's a kind of cool little like city. And that email generated so much revenue just off the back of it, from people recommending people to it. There was a couple of business guests that they got in contact with. They put them in touch with their head office, because their head office was sending lots of people to Chester that this client didn't know about. And it was just at the back of an email. So it was a case of A, getting the data, B, doing something with it. And that's what it all boils down to. The people that I see that do data and email and communication the best wins, basically.
And quite honestly, I would say that same issue applies to large managers just as much as small managers. That if you have a huge email list, if you've been in business for a long time and it's just sitting there and you're not utilizing it, it's also doing good, right? But that's a really interesting idea to see who they would recommend you to. Was there an offer or like a referral bonus or anything attached to it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of dangling the carrot. So if you're going to ask the question, you got to have the incentive. And if you do it on a smaller scale, and I talk about a smaller scale, is that I always say that your phone book, your contact list, when you're starting out as a host, is so powerful, because you've got people in there that know know you, love you, and would want you
Mhm.
to succeed. And a lot of people don't even realize what you do for a business or a job, or that you're starting this new venture. So I always say, just blast it out. Text 10 people and just say, hey, if you know anybody that's coming to the area, and if they book and they reference you, I'll send you X. And if you know the person to dangle that carrot, even better. I'm a big Liverpool football fan, and if
Mhm.
someone wants to entice me, just offer me Liverpool football tickets. You know what I mean, to do something from them. But even if you don't know the person, you can just say, I'll send you $100 in Amazon vouchers or cash, or whatever. You incentivize them to do it, and when you incentivize people, they're more likely to act. And that's what
Yeah.
we're doing in that thread, in that email thread that we sent out.
Yeah. So I know one thing we talked about previously, and I've talked to you about it before. You've customers literally all over the world. You're working on every continent. Are you seeing anything that works better in one region than another, or does it work generally the same everywhere? I feel like Asia is one of those. It's always kind of an enigma to work in. But what are you seeing?
Sales and marketing, I feel, just works all over the world, because at the end of the day, simple sales and marketing tactics work whether you're a bigger company or a smaller company. You do have different things to contend with, depends on where you are in the world, 100%. And obviously as well, northern and hemisphere and southern hemisphere, you've got different times of the year where things work differently, and others. And this is before we even get into like regulations and tourism and, and licenses and etc. But when it really does boil down to sales and marketing, which is what this is, I think the same practices run parallel with hospitality. They run parallel around the niches, but it's exactly the same. You can pick it up and put it into things like personal trainers, or you can put it into like barbershops or brick and mortar businesses. It's the simple sales and marketing tactics that have just stood the test of time. We just repackage it and do it a little bit different because it is the world of hospitality. And I always say that we're in such a really favorable position in hospitality, because we're in the industry of making memories. When
Mhm.
we sell our product to the people, the guests, they are literally making memories. They will talk
Mhm.
about that vacation, that stay, for forever, for the
Yeah.
test of time. And because of that, we are in such a favorable position. But also as well, bringing it back to the OTAs, we are in very lucky position that we can literally just list our property on these free channels, Booking.com,
Mhm.
Expedia, Verbo, Airbnb, and be pretty much guaranteed to get some revenue coming in.
Mhm.
Annie, you're about to go into the world of solopreneurship, and there's nowhere that you can go and list your services on that you'll be guaranteed to get revenue in. You know what I mean? You've got to you build the brand, you've got to do the marketing, do the sales, etc. So we're very fortunate with hospitality, but at the same time, the curse is that because it is so easy, so many hosts, especially smaller hosts, they just get so reliant on that one platform that will just drive them revenue and don't do anything else. And that's where the
Mhm.
problems occur.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the friends and family thing, and I know that ties into the email campaign idea that you did. We'll be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
My name is Billy Widener. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Brett Robinson Vacation Rentals. We love the flexibility that Track provides us, the horsepower, the ability to customize the different experiences for our customers. Track makes a lot of those things possible for us. Brett Robinson and Track partnered in the development of derivative pricing. The other features of Track made it a great decision, but this was one that we needed to operate our business in an efficient manner. So we partnered with the development team, and they allowed us to provide that level of flexibility back into our rate management strategies. One of the new products that we've added in the last 2 years since I arrived was Track Digital Marketing Services. And what Track Digital Marketing Services brings to the table is deep knowledge about not only the history of vacation rentals, but current information and trends that they're seeing across multiple markets. They use that information to advise us and help us make the best decisions with our marketing dollars on a regular basis. The amount that we budget toward that has been able to be modified significantly. We're projecting similar results to what we had last year with a budget reduction of more than 40%. We went through a very extensive process to evaluate multiple property management systems. And what we got to at the end of the day was that the level of professionalism, functionality, and the flexibility of that product to allow us to customize it in our way made the decision to stay with Track the best decision that could come out of that process.
Ready to take your operations to the next level? Get a free market assessment, a $400 value that gives you a clear picture of how your business stacks up against the competition. You'll meet one-on-one with a track expert who will evaluate your performance in the context of your market, uncover gaps and opportunities, and deliver 3 to 5 actionable insights tailored to your business. This is your chance to find out what's working, what's not, and where you can improve based on real market data. Click the link in the description to get started today. In my history, I mean, there's been nothing that can more easily set you apart from your competition in the market. Is pretty cost effective to do as a program, but is to generate or to get your guests to submit user generated content. And I think where companies and hosts get stuck around that is just literally in the process and the technology to be able to make it happen, facilitate it, get usage and rights to the pictures. But when you think about it, like you said, in your phone, there's probably in all of our phones, there's a bunch of people that demographically are very similar to us. So you have to think about it from the same way, that it's like if you incentivize your guests to share a memory or a picture from their stay and share that to their friends and family, and you've got some contests and gamifying that process, it's just amazing what I've seen for success in that side. But it's one of those things that I think a lot of companies look at it as a nice to have, but the companies that really utilize it, it's actually a key differentiator between them and the competition in the market.
Yeah. Can you think about it? When do you mostly post on social media is when you're out on vacation because you want to show off to your friends
Right.
and families at home that you're on vacation.
Yeah.
And the way that operators fall down is that there isn't some form of signage or somewhere in digitality where it says when you take pictures and you post it online, tag in our handle or tag in that you are here. And for everybody that does, we'll send you X. Like we used to do at our farm stay business is we used to do a monthly competition on social media. And this is back in 2011, 2012, when this was all very new. But we would put on the in the property would have this cool little laminate that's saying when you take a picture, you upload it to social media, tagging the granary. Every month we pick our favorite one and you will win a bottle of wine. It was so simple, so easy, but we gamified it. And everybody would go on Instagram and Facebook and they would tag us in. And then we would use those pictures for our social media posts.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah.
people buy from people. People
Yeah.
want to experience, they can see themselves staying at the place through other people on social media. And if they post it on Facebook and they tag you in, and we all dream of working with these influencers that have got hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, but the best influencers are the friends and families of the people that are staying in your
100%.
place.
Yeah.
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 100%. And this happens to me all the time, that even if it's not somebody that I'm like close friends with, but if I saw somebody that went to Grand Cayman and I saw pictures and I was like, God, that looks so beautiful there. And a month later, now I'm thinking about going somewhere and I'm like, I remember that person went to Grand Cayman. I will definitely reach out to them and say, where did you stay? What did you like to do? Even if it's not somebody that I'm like a close friend with, but you would rather get advice from somebody that's close to you, but even just people within your network that like you know a little bit more than just looking on a website. I mean, there's a certain level of trust if you can, see a little bit more about a person. But yeah, I love that you do that. That's great.
Kind of on the influencer note, one of the things that I think that you have done is influence people to think outside the box. You do a lot of kind of guerrilla marketing around things and some unique things. And one of the things that caught my eye that you did this year was you weren't able to attend a conference. It was the SCR Wealth Conference in Nashville. And that's always known, depending on what side of the industry you sit on, it has a flavor. And some people like that flavor and some people don't like that flavor. And I'll say it that way.
Mhm.
But you weren't able to attend. So you did these wanted posters. And so I really never got a chance to talk to you. And so we were talking about it off camera. I'd really like to understand what the impetus was behind that, and like, what other types of guerrilla marketing you've done for events, and kind of what it feels like it's encouraging people to really, really do different things to get noticed. But you've done the stickers on the bathroom walls. You've done a
Yeah.
couple of different things. So maybe talk us through that process.
Yeah, I like to mess around with marketing. I like to be a guinea pig at marketing, and I've always loved Richard Branson, and I love reading all of his books and how he would go and launch one of his Virgin products. He would do something like crazy, like guerrilla marketing to get the attention. And
Mhm.
I haven't got the budget of a Richard Branson, but I kind of look at what other people are doing outside of the world of short-term rentals, and I try and bring it into this world. So toilet stickers, prime example. When you're at an event And I used to do this, and I would get help in the women's bathrooms, but basically I would get these stickers done, and these stickers would have a QR code on it. And I'm always thinking, well, when do you have your phone out? Is when you're sitting down on the toilet. And I would go into the men's cubicles of any event I was speaking at, and I've done this at Verma in Orlando. I've done this at SCR Wealth when it was in like the saloons. At any event, I've got stickers like literally behind me now. It's like a bag full of stickers, and I would go into the men's toilets, and at the start of the day, and I would just go stick them all on. And basically the copy would change. I would A/B test. The copy would vary from "Would you like to flush Airbnb down the toilet?" The copy was like the guy that Airbnb don't want you to know about, or the guy that the OTAs don't want you to know about, with a QR code that they would scan. That QR code would go to my Linktree, and the cool thing about Linktree is it's absolutely free, and then you can change the links on where people go. On the link tree of a specific event, I would say, if you're attending Verma or if you're attending STR Wealth, watch this video. And it's a pre-recorded video where I just explain about Boostly, what we do, where you can book a call. I tried it at an event. It cost maybe $100, say, to get all the stickers done. We would have calls booked on the back of it because I could track it through a UTM code. When I had the success, I thought, well, what more can I do? And so I've done billboards, for example. When I was launching the second book, which was the Book Direct Play Blueprint, I discovered that there was a company that you could rent billboards in New York on Times Square. It was a bit of a cost, but I thought this is great to launch the book. And so I was able to get a billboard spot in Times Square, and I was able to get two of the co-authors that I did the second book with, who lived in New York, to come down. We got pictures, and it flashed up for like a second, but we got the picture, which is like
just a second, just for the picture.
Yeah, books that the OTAs don't want you to know about, which didn't generate sales for Boostly, but the attention and the awareness of that post when we put it online just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And so
we've done some of the things that you just mentioned, but with a
not
little
on that scale.
flair. When we went to Italy last year, we had a bunch of our stickers that we bring everywhere also. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned it because I just reordered these and I put a QR code on them because we're out of the ones we have. But when we were in Italy, we put them on street poles, on buildings, everywhere, and we got actually an increase in people from Italy now that listen to the show. So
I put one on a pole in Mexico City last year.
Yeah, I mean we're on all the street poles, all the good places. I had never thought about the bathroom stalls, but I think that is
But
super
the main thing to remember about the bathroom stalls, for legal reasons, I do go and take those stickers down at the end of the day. I tell you what, though, when we were at Verma Orlando, I can't remember the venue where it was, but their bathrooms people there were on it. They like, as soon as the stickers were up, the stickers were straight down.
It keeps going in here. That's
but then this year, like you're saying, Annie, I couldn't make the STR Wealth this year, and like you say, the event is Marmite, so people love it, people hate it. But for me, from where my target audience is, there's like 2,000 people in that room. That's my target audience. And so. I had two ideas this year, and I couldn't be there because I was speaking at an event in South Africa. So I organized for a mobile billboard. So I had the billboard in Nashville, which is great, but it's right out on the interstate. Nobody sees it. So I thought, well, how can I get closer to the event? So I did a little search on Google, and I found this mobile billboard company that you could hire it for 3 days, cost about $1,000. And they would basically all day just drive around the venue with the British national anthem blaring out, and on the billboard,
wow, I didn't realize that part too.
On the billboard was the old saying, like, the guy that the OTAs don't want you to know about, with a QR code with my face, and it's like moving. And the amount of messages I got over those 3 days, I had Steve Schwab in a taxi sending me a picture going, why are you on a billboard outside Nashville? I had the guys from Happy Guest. I had Mike from Happy Guest with a video that he posted online and tagged me in. And that was really cool. But at the same time, I thought, well, what else can I do? How can I actually get in the venue? This is why I had the idea of this wanted poster. And again, I quickly put it together on Canva. It looks shocking, but the best way to describe how I got the inspiration from this is that there was a guy on YouTube called Antpo, and he did this Timothy Chalamet lookalike competition in New York round about February time. It blew up and got a ton of exposure. And all that was a very simple lookalike poster, QR code, and it went everywhere. Well, I can do that. So I did it. sent it to FedEx, they print it, and it's just waiting there to get picked up. I found somebody on TaskRabbit, and basically paid for them for 2 days to take these, I think it was like 1,000 posters, and would just hand them out. Obviously, you've got to be very careful with this. If you can't do like soliciting, etc., in the venue, but you can do it in public places around the venue. So I basically spoke to her, arranged for a few people that will remain nameless to meet my TaskRabbiter, grab a load of posters who were attending the venue, and they took the posters and walked into the venue. And again, they took pictures and they left them lying around, etc. Again, this QR code on that had UTM tags on it, so I could tell how effective it was. And from I would say $400 that I spent on those posters, we had, I think it's just been clocked in about $12,000 to $16,000 worth of revenue come back. So in terms of return of investment, phenomenal.
Great ROI.
Do it again.
Social awareness was great. Again, there was a lot of exposure, shares, likes, LinkedIn, DMs saying, "What are you doing now?" And it's just a ton of fun. Again, it's a bit of fun, a little bit of being there but not being there, and it's got me thinking about what I can do next. But what is really cool to see now is I've seen the likes of Optimizer and AutoRank. They are doing their own version of events and how they can sort of break the mold and get attention. And it's really funny to see what they do at events with the Viagra rank. I don't know if you've seen that. And last year,
and the condoms.
The last year, that was, I wouldn't go that
right.
far.
Yeah. What conference was that? I remember that earlier this year.
That was Verma last year.
Okay, yeah.
Again, it's interesting and it's fun to see, because at the end of the day, when you go to a conference, like before you even left, you can easily forget what's being said on stage, right? You can easily forget, but people will always remember how you make them feel. And I like to do things with a little bit of fun, a little bit of joke, a little bit of jest, not to take myself too seriously. But that's how I run Boostly. And, it's worked. And I love doing it. I never take it too far. I don't try and step over the line too much. I just try and have a bit of fun with it. And, and your vibe attracts your tribe. And the people that we work with are super cool. And the people that come to us are awesome. But at the end of the day, we just want to help them get more bookings, get direct bookings, and we can have a bit of fun while we're doing it.
I can't wait to see what you do for Verma this year. So.
We
talked about some ideas off camera.
I'm so pick your brain for some cool ideas.
If I'm walking down the strip and get handed a picture of Mark,
so I got in trouble last year at Verma because do you remember Jeff and Host GPO organized that pickleball competition? So I sent a Boostly rep down. Well, these were two of the top 2 pickleball players in the world.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
And
are you serious?
And they're playing up against the likes of
Robin Craig,
right?
And so they won.
My gosh.
They won the competition, obviously, and they've got Boostly shirts on, and they win it, and their social media was everywhere and spreading around.
So they were just pickleball players. They weren't related to the industry. Oh my god, that is so kudos to you. That's super
but
smart.
I'm now
marketing.
banned from taking part. I'm now banned from taking part in any Host GPO organized event. So
you've been banned. We know Jeff. Maybe we can get you in.
It's fun.
Oh my goodness,
I do like it. It's a lot of fun. So I'm thinking about what the next one we can do.
We'll be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
Hi, my name is Lauren Madewell. I'm with Antebellum's Cabin Rentals. We have been with Explory for over 15 years now. Before working with Explory, we were just recommending all the local attractions, but we never got anything out of it. And so now we get to work with the local attractions that we recommend, and it's not just, you should go here, it's a lot of fun. It's, you should go here, you get a free ticket, we love this place. When we first started working with Explory, what we were hoping that it would help us achieve is potentially signing on more homeowners because we could offer their guests more. We also wanted to earn more bookings because we were gonna give guests more than the average booking. You book thinking you're just gonna get a cabin or vacation rental, but now you get that and all these free tickets. So more homeowners and more guests and more repeat business. There is more competition than ever. All the markets are oversaturated. Money is tighter than ever. There's only so much you can do for a cabin. There's only so low you can go on the rates. There's only so high you can go on the specials. And we all just have rental properties. It's kind of the same thing. Where there is real value now in this economy is the guest is not just getting that cabin that they're paying for. They're seeing, with Antebellum's in particular, I'm getting over $900 in free tickets every day. That factors into their budgeting. It's an incredible economic advantage for the guests because they are looking where they can stretch their dollar the furthest. I really think that's more valuable to them than a lower rate or a higher special. I'd say the overall impact on the guest experience has been incredibly positive in measurable and immeasurable ways. Yes, we are absolutely seeing it in their Google reviews and their third-party platform reviews that they're enjoying the free ticket system. We know how much they're using it because they reach out before their stay asking questions and recommendations about the best way to use their free tickets. If another property manager asked me if Exploria is worth it, there's no question. On the one hand, I'd be like, no, totally not worth it. Give me the competitive advantage. But no. I put my heart in everything. So I would actually say in this economy, I think you'd be silly not to work with Exploria.
Looking to take your guest experience to the next level? Exploria helps you stand out by connecting guests to curated, complimentary local activities. And now, Alex and Annie listeners get free onboarding when you join as a new partner. This exclusive offer is valid through November 30th, 2025. Click the link in the description to get started today.
Well, I think everybody, from the vendor perspective is thinking about that at any of these events of like, how do we get, more opportunities to talk to people? There's only so many opportunities to be on stage, and the vendor hall is either super busy, which I definitely prefer that, or it's a ghost town. There's no one in there. And it's like, you pay all this money for booths and everything else, but you've got to get creative and think of different ways to just cut through the noise. And we talk about this on the show all the time. There's a lot of noise. I mean, since the last time we had you on the show, it's fascinating to know how many new suppliers have popped up since 2022. I mean, like it's got to be hundreds, I would say at least. But
yeah, especially with ones that have got AI at the end of the name. So.
Oh gosh,
right.
Yeah.
Everybody's well, at the end of the name, but it is AI.
I was just with the boys at Boom in South Africa. They're a lot of fun. So it's great to see what Boom have done in the space and disrupt it. I've been. We have a lot of customers moving to Boom at the moment. So we've had a lot of communications behind the scenes and figuring out API connections and integrations. But yeah, it's good work. I was with the team when they signed up Rebecca Cribben over in South Africa.
Oh gosh, we were getting live pictures as that was happening.
Yeah, it was big. It's awesome to see, and it's great to see. And yeah, there's a lot of new people in the space, and it's really interesting to. I've been doing this now for nearly 10 years, and I've been doing event space for maybe 4 or 5 of those years, and it's cool to see. I love going to events, catching up with people, and saying hi to people, meeting people, and. I'm doing the Scale UK event in November, and they've given me permission to organize the icebreaker party the night before the event. So be prepared for the videos that are going to come out of that. I've got something so special.
Oh boy!
Imagine.
If we see you with the video camera, we're probably going to hide. But
yeah, I have got something special lined up for that. It's going to be fun to see.
Oh, we won't see you at Scale Italia then.
No, I'm afraid not. Because when is that again? Sorry, that is in.
It's in a couple weeks.
It's in 2 weeks.
September right now.
September is like I am just not available in September because
I have an idea. Why don't you come? It's Scale Italia, and then it's the women's conference, the Vacation Rental Italian Women's Conference. That could be your thing. You just show up at the women's conference. Guys did it in Charleston, so that could be the big surprise. Works here.
I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Just here to help. Oh man. Well, I actually have a serious question for you. So if somebody is looking at either building a website or redoing their website, I mean, I wouldn't say quite a lot. I mean, I think there's like a handful of vendors that are specific to vacation rentals that you can go to because they've got the API connections to the softwares. But and I've worked with most of them at this point, some better experiences than others. But what's the difference between Boostly, would you say, compared to some of the more legacy website providers? And like, what is the experience like for somebody when they come in to work with you?
Yeah, I mean, I know all the guys that are doing website design that have got the connections and the connectivity. I think the connectivity is the key because anybody can put together a front end of a website, and I mean, you can go on Fiverr and you can find 100 people in India and Pakistan who'll do it for like less than $100 now. But the connectivity is the key, because the booking process from the point of where your future potential guest, that prospect, hits that map, hits that listing, and then wants to make the booking, that is so key. If you mess that up, the guest will just basically get fed up, get confused, and they'll leave, and they'll just go straight back to Airbnb. So having that
Mhm.
connectivity is key. And I know that, like Boostly, we've got 27 connections. I know the guys at ICND, they do fantastic work. Gil at Crafted Stays, and you've got Eli at Hudson and Conrad over at Builder Bookings, and we've got this joint Slack group between us, and we're all, we call ourselves the Direct Booking Avengers, and we're just talking about the pain points and the pros and cons of what we're doing, and everything. We share advice. I feel like what Boostly separates from ourselves from others, and how we are a little bit different from others, is that we don't just give you a website. We actually give you all of the tools as well behind the scenes that you need to be able to succeed. So I talked about go high level. I talked about this.
Mhm.
That's a massive part, and I feel like we're only scratching the surface of what we can do with that. So for email and social media, that's bare basics of go high level. There's so many other cool
Mhm.
things that we can do that we're discovering with like AI and assistance and marketing flows and funnels, etc. So that gets plugged in, and that's part of Boostly. You don't get charged anything extra for that. But we also do twice a week group coaching calls. So I do the Monday one. I've got Liam Carolan, who's co-host of the podcast, who's a host himself, property manager himself. He's got 20 to 30 properties in Norwich. He does the Thursday call. And we've got the community. So the community's got about 10,000 years worth of experience in. You come in and ask a question, you get answers from like really cool people who have been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. So it's like the all package. That's why I say tools, tactics, training, confidence to be able to go and crack this thing called short-term rentals and growing your business. And everybody in there is from that 2 to 100 properties. That's like where our sort of world sort of sits. Yes, we get people with maybe one property or a couple of hundred, but that 2 to 100 is sort of like where we sort of sit, and everybody in there is on that sort of path together, which is really cool. And the thing that we're doing next, which is the next thing that we're going to launch, which is called Connect. I'm really fascinated at this, because it was sort of taking these API connections that I talk about that are really important, that I feel like as AI is going to grow, you can go onto any probably website builder and get it to do a front end website for free very soon. But the thing that it can't replicate is the thing behind the scenes, these API integrations that go into the PMs that are out there. And we've got 27 of them, and that's growing every day. And that we're going to pull out, and we're going to offer to people, and we're going to call it Connect. And what we can do with that, that's really fascinating. So that's like the next sort of thing.
I think you told me about this maybe even like a year or two ago. It was a while, but I mean, basically, it's like a universal API.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been talking about it for a year. It's been taking a year to get to this stage.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
And
Yeah.
what's really cool is that I know Boris at Flataway in Bulgaria, he's creating his version of it. I know that Eli at Hudson, he's creating his version of it. So to see two industry peers creating something knows that this is something that has legs. This is
It's a
something that
need for sure. Yeah.
definitely achieve. And so, yeah, the goal from it would be that you can create a mini online travel agent, your own little mini listing site within minutes with this, and you'll be able to do it all connected to this dashboard. So that's what we're building now. And yeah, and the training will always be there. And I feel like what truly like separates us is you get a guy with a crazy British accent who does weird marketing stunts behind the scenes, and you get access
Yeah.
to my brain as well.
I think you keep people sharp, and you keep people thinking, and I think that that's what's really exciting. And I love watching what you do and how you interact with people, because it's again, it's constantly creative, it's constantly retooling, it's thinking outside the box, the proverbial box all the time. And I think we need more of that. There's so many people that will say, a lot of people in this industry are sort of reticent to change. And I think that you
Mhm.
kind of upended that, and you're making people see that, like, you have to constantly be changing in order to adapt with what the
Mhm.
industry is wanting you to be.
I just try and document it. I tried to document it like a scrapbook since day one, and I talk about the good and the bad. The good things and like the bad things that happen, the good things happen, and thankfully now it's all good. Last year was a little bit crazy, but yeah, I try and sort of like see what other people are doing in other industries and package it up, and I sort of bring it into our industry. How can we do this in a year? And yeah, there's some cool things that are going on. So I'm excited to see what the next sort of chapter looks like.
Yeah. I've got one question on that API and then we'll wrap up. But is
Yeah.
that going to be available for suppliers to access too? Or is it for the purpose of if a vacation rental company wants to build their own OTA?
Yeah, no, I'm going to white label it. This is why I'm calling it Connect and not Boostly Connect,
Yeah.
because then with this we can. I would love to give it to like revenue managers or people who do Google ads, or we talk about Maddie at Mount. She's got the content creator army. I'd love to give dashboards to their content creators so they can then go and create their own little mini sites. So I'm looking to white label it for everybody, even website designers. Even if you haven't got property and you want to create like a listing site and go and market it, this is what this will be able to do, because you can sync in more than one PMS into this dashboard at a time. So you could have free Boom customers sync their data in. You could have free whatever customers just sync their data in, and you all into this one dashboard. So yeah, it's really exciting what we can do.
That's cool. That's super exciting. I think that's probably one of the more interesting things I've heard about recently. So
Thank you.
definitely keep us in the loop on that.
Thank you.
But Mark, it's always a pleasure having you. I can't wait till the 4th time that you come back. If you come back 4 times, you will have hit a record. So we got to make sure we get that.
Got to make it happen.
Got
to make it happen.
But if anybody wants to connect with you, obviously you're going to be at Scale UK, but any other conferences you'll be at?
Fingers crossed, VR Nation 2026. Conversations are being had behind the scenes, so hopefully
I
that
have a
one
feeling I know where that's going.
in Denver. So hopefully that one, and I'm going to be back in Dubai next month for Scale Dubai, which is a really cool conference. What the guys are doing there is amazing, and I'm really excited to go back, because when we go to Dubai, the whole family comes with, which I love. So
love it.
So yeah, have a bit of family time.
Awesome. Well, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, probably mark at boostly.co.uk.
Yeah, boostly.co.uk is me. But Instagram is my favorite channel. So Boostly UK or LinkedIn, Mark Simpson on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Well, we will include links in the show notes for that. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Annie and I, you can go to alexandanniepodcast.com. And until next time, thanks everybody for tuning in.